Okay, this next video is going to be a continuation of the first gyroplane crash behind the power curve. Well, I guess we'll call this one behind the power curve revisited. I went out and I did a bunch of takeoffs and landings where I got way behind the power curve and demonstrated that how you could recover just simply by lowering the nose to basically level or just slightly below level. And also that if you kept the aircraft behind the power curve and it did go all the way back to the ground, as long as you're landing with the aircraft pointing the way you're going straight ahead, that likely all is going to happen is the aircraft is going to sit down hard, may bounce and look a little bit ugly, likely not going to do any damage to the aircraft or get hurt at all. That's not true if you get it into a turn. If you get way behind the power curve and you start a turn for whatever reason, I don't know why in the world you'd ever want to turn, but if you hit like that, likely the aircraft's going to roll over on its side, it's going to get the rotor blade into the ground and pretty much completely destroy the aircraft. I would really appreciate if you guys would watch the entire video. Alright, there's a lot of good information that you really need to understand. If you're a gyro pilot, you need to watch the whole video. And even if you're a helicopter pilot, you probably need to watch the whole video, because at the end of this we're going to compare and contrast operating a helicopter in what's called the shaded part of the height velocity curve and at less than effective translational lift. It's kind of the same thing as getting behind the power curve with the gyro, and we'll talk more about those two things extensively. But let's go to the video and take a look at some of the operations as far as landing and salvaging, getting behind the power curve and saving it, and getting behind the power curve and letting it go all the way to the ground and re-landing the aircraft again.
Traffic, experimental 567 Charlie. Charlie's going to be taking runway 20, remaining in the pattern on the right side. Keep running traffic. Alright, so we got our rotor spun up. We're going to go out here now. First takeoff, I'm going to take off and keep it behind the power curve and show you that the thing will get in the air actually quite slow, somewhere in the neighborhood of about 30 miles an hour, 30 to 35. Once I get it in the air, I'm going to keep it behind the power curve and just bust it along the runway. Then eventually I'll raise the nose back again and get even farther behind the power curve, show the aircraft will settle to the ground, so despite being in full power. So, alright, so here we go.
Yeah, Cape traffic, Sirius 5.
So we're in the air.
Taxi for Cape Grotto.
There's 40, and I can fly along at 40 all day long, so I'm going to bring the nose up and push it out even more. Now you're going to notice that the aircraft quits climbing right about there. There's 30. It's not going to maintain altitude, see, we're coming right on down. There's 33. I'm still, if I raise the nose and get even slower, I think rate's going to increase even more. So see there, I'm behind the power curve. Now if I lower the nose a little bit, it actually touched something. So let's try that again. We're behind the power curve. 40, it'll climb out. Now I'm going to raise my nose and get even slower. There, I'm starting to descend. Now again, if I lower the nose to just under level, now the aircraft's flying again. Okay, we're going to go around the pattern one time here. Try that again. Now notice with the same power setting. Come right on around, fly at cruise speed. Cape Grotto traffic, sorry about 567 Charlie's on the downwind, runway 20, Cape Grotto traffic. Okay, so the purpose of landing behind the power curve, keeping it behind the power curve.
Cape traffic, Sirius 516 Kilo Sierra is departing 28, and it'll be a left turn out to the south of Cape traffic.
And 567 Charlie, we'll hold on runway 20, you on the airport, go ahead and depart there.
Well, I thought you said you were in the downwind. I thought you were way out there.
No problem. Yeah, go ahead. We're gonna sit her down on 20 and hold short, and you have a good trip.
Oh, I got you. Okay, yeah, I appreciate it. You too.
All right, so we're going to sit down and let that Cirrus get on the go here. And there you go. Keep our stick back. Keep it kind of idling here. Our RPM's above 200. All right, he's on the go. Okay, so we're going to take off again, keeping it behind the power curve. It'll drag into the air at 40. Now, if I was to raise the nose again and get even slower, see, that kills off my lift. There at 33, I'm just kind of hanging here. Now, if I was to barely raise the nose a little more, right about like that, get to 30, now we're starting to descend. Now, I'm going to keep it behind the power curve. So I got my power all the way in. We're just mushing along behind the power curve. Now I'm going to raise the nose more so that I actually start to descend. Just right about there. That's 29. You see we're coming down. And if I held it there, even though it's going to come down and touch the runway, as long as I got runway out in front of me, not a big deal. Bring it up a little more so it'll mush out a little more. Yeah, I'm still at full power. Now the aircraft's going to sit down and touch his tail first. If that happens to you, let the aircraft sit down just like that. Come forward on the stick, get your speed up, then lift off again and you're climbing. So again, if you get behind the power curve and you got, don't turn. For God's sakes, don't turn. Keep the aircraft going straight. If you screwed it up and you sit down, hopefully you got a decent surface in front of you, runway, grass field, whatever. Then you just let the aircraft sit back down on the ground, come slightly forward with the stick a little bit, get your speed up higher, and then pick the aircraft back up and it'll fly. You want to lift off at a higher speed, let's say 50 or so, not 35 or 40. Cape Charlie traffic, experimental 567 Charlie Charlie's on the downwind, runway 20, Cape Charlie traffic. We'll come around and land again. We'll do that again. I'll show you that if you're behind the power curve, you start to sink. If you just basically bring the nose down to level or just a teeny bit below level, the airspeed will recover and the aircraft will start to fly again. We'll come in, set it down here on the numbers 20. Start from there. All right, got my stick all the way back into the power. Now I got my nose high. Way behind the power curve here. Yeah. I'm only going about 32. It's kind of just evened off here. If I raise the nose a little more, I'm 29, you'll see it start to sink. Now I'm just going to lower my nose to level. Look at there. Aircraft starts to climb again. Try that again. This time I'm going to bring my nose way up here. Behind the power curve. Now I'm going 28. You can see I'm descending, right? So now I recognize it and let the aircraft come down to even level, like that. There you go. My descent has stopped. Let's try that again. We're going to bring it up. Get way behind the power curve. There's like 25, 27.
This tower, we're not open for another
we are
6
descending.
minutes, but I do have your clearance.
So now if I recognize it, all I got to do is lower the nose to just about level or slightly below. And there you go, I've recovered my airspeed.
Filed, maintain
and
4,000.
I'm climbing.
Expect flight level 290, 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency will be Memphis Center 133.65, squawk 1656.
Test 40 cleared Chicago here, as filed, 4,290, 10 minutes after. Departure on 3365 and 1656 at the box.
Read that correct. You can taxi out and depart on advisory frequency. I'm not open for another 5.5 minutes. If I can get your wheels up before 7 straight up, I don't have to call TMU, flow control.
All right, we're going, thanks, 40.
What runway are you going to?
Plan on 28.
All right, sir, you release your discretion. Common traffic advisory frequency.
All right, thanks, good day.
Good day.
All right, so we got the airliner fixed to take off. It's early morning here. We're at 6 minutes till 7. He needs to get in the air, so I'll make this one a quick one. I'll get out of his way so he can get on the go.
Sky 5040 regional jet is taxiing from the terminal area to runway 28, Cape Girardeau.
Yeah, experimental 567 Charlie Charlie is on, making a base to final turn, runway 20, and we'll get out of you guys' way and let you get on the go here.
Thank you.
Oh, come on out of the power and I'll set it down again. All right, so gonna bring it to a stop. We'll start our departure from the stop here. All right, so on the go again. Go, we're in the air. It'll take off at about 40 and get in the air. After you get slow, hit that nose up some more. Right about there at 34, it'll maintain altitude. And now if I get slower, raise that nose up some more to about 29 or so, it's pretty obvious that we're descending. Right there, we're descending. So now again, to recover, all I gotta do is lower my nose down to about level. There comes my speed, I've recovered, I'm not descending anymore. Raise it back up, we'll get slow again. See, there's 25, and I can see we're in quite a descent. And I recognize it, okay, I'm in behind the power curve. I lower my nose to just below level.
That's 5040 regional jet taking on runway 28 for departure, Cape Girardeau.
I've stopped my descent. Okay, we're going to climb out to the south. And 567 Charlie Charlie, we're going to extend on out to the south, let you guys have the airport here. And we'll turn back to the east here. Watch the airliner here. Our airliner's on the go here. There goes the airliner. Cape Girardeau traffic 567 Charlie Charlie is on a left downwind for runway 20. Cape Girardeau traffic. You guys have a good flight there.
Hey, thanks very much. We appreciate it. SkyWest 5040 up on runway 28. We're going to be making a right-hand turn out, depart in the area to the northwest, Cape Girardeau.
So we'll just kind of mosey here on the downwind. Gotta keep my shirt sleeve out of the way so you guys can see my airspeed. Now again, I mentioned that a lot of times we'll get behind the power curve on purpose. So like right now, if I needed to get down to the ground pretty quickly, we're pretty tight on the end of the runway here, so if I need to lose quite a bit of altitude, I can just bring my nose up to about 20 right there, and see we're coming right on down. There's 10 or so. We can descend right on down. Get down to about where I want to be, let my nose start coming down, to increase my airspeed. That recovers the airspeed, ability to fly and flare and that sort of thing. So now I'm out of the power. Just set it down here about the numbers again. All right, we'll do this one more time. All right, so sticks all the way back. Now I'm in the air, right there at 39. Again, if I want to bring the nose up and slow down even more. There's 34, so that's about where it'll maintain altitude at about 34. I'm going to bring the nose up some more. About 30. We're in a slight descent at 30. In fact, I'm going to raise it just a little bit more. All I'd have to do to recover to make this thing fly again, is lower my nose. So let's say that I don't do that, and I keep it here at about 30. Yeah, let's see if I can flush this out again. There's 30. Then a slight descent. Now, just so I don't tear up the aircraft, I'm going to lower the nose a little bit. See, if I touch down again like that, you'll touch on the tail first. Now, when you're on the ground, go ahead and let it roll.
Aircraft within Class D
Then
surface area.
lift the air, or lift the nose at a higher airspeed. And 567 on the go, runway 20.
Roger that.
We'll stay in a right-hand pattern here.
Roger.
Power 8 Alpha is about 4 to the southeast of you.
And 8 Lima Alpha, say your intention.
10 if possible, and just got a few loads to do up there.
8 Lima Alpha, roger that. Report midfield right downwind 10.
Report halfway for 10, 8 Lima Alpha.
And Cape Tower 567, Charlie Tower, midfield on the downwind 20.
7 Charlie Charlie, enter a left downwind 10, clear touch and go, then fly runway heading.
Right at turn it left for the left downwind 10. And touch and go and runway heading after that for 7, Charlie Charlie. Okay, so you switch runways on it, so we're going to come around on it. That's alright, man. Actually, this will work out better for me anyway.
I got more plans than that.
Yeah, I bet you do.
Don't be mean.
Alright, so we're going to come around and land her on one. We're going to land on 10, and then we'll do the same thing again. We'll get it in the air behind the power curve and illustrate what happens when you do here. Alright, so we'll go ahead and get on the go. So we've got the guy coming in behind us. So you see it's lifting off right there, 37. I'm going to back off on the power just a little bit. The sun on it. So now we're climbing at 45.
Entering the right downwind for 10, about halfway.
8 Lima Alpha, that gyro just departed, runway 10. He is about a quarter way down the runway.
He's on 10?
He's at your 12 to 1 o'clock, less than a mile.
So you can see if I slow it way down. Here we're about
7 Charlie Charlie, I need you to depart.
Oh, right then, on the go. All right, well, tower's going to get us on the go here, so we'll do
8 Lima
that.
Alpha is clear to land on runway 10.
10.
Can I go ahead and re-enter left downwind for 10?
You can do whatever you want, sir.
All right, left-hand pattern. Yeah, we got the crop duster in sight there.
Follow that crop duster, you're cleared for the option 10.
Good option 10, 7, Charlie, Charlie. Well, we'll just keep her slow here and take a look at Jason's landing abilities this morning. Guys, in this crop duster, I actually taught him and his son both how to fly a helicopter. His son crop dusts with helicopters. Jason still uses airplane. Now we'll turn around in behind him. Again, you know, we can use that to get behind the power curve to our advantage. So I'm up here at, I don't know, 150 feet or so. But if I wanted to descend down to the runway, I'm right over the top of the numbers here. I can bring this thing up by 20 or 10. Now we're basically just doing a vertical descent. I lower my nose down to recover my airspeed. That's going to decrease my sink rate, but now I can get my nose down.
8 Lima Alpha, taxi to the ramp.
Allow the power completely down here. So again, you can use the behind the power curve to your advantage. where people screw up is they get a takeoff in, get the nose up too high, get behind the power curve, never recover their airspeed, and just mush right in, and that's not good. The worst thing, like I say, if you turn, you're going to hit, and the rotors are going to get into the ground, and it's just going to not be good. You're going to destroy the aircraft. Now let's bring our nose on up and get slow again. Let me remind you guys, don't practice this at home. Alright, right now if the engine quit, it'd be really ugly to try to recover this thing. I'd end up hitting hard, tearing up the aircraft pretty good. So there we are at 33. I'm just mushed out. I'm just hanging up here. I'm not climbing. If I slow it down a little bit more, there's 29 or so. Now we're descending. So now to recover it, all I got to do is ease the nose down to just about level. Right there. See there? Now that stopped my descent. Actually flying again. So let's pull it back up again and get slow. So here I am at 29 again. It's just mushing out. We're descending. Now to recover it, all I got to do is again lower the nose just a little bit, down to about level or slightly below the horizon. And we're climbing again. We're flying. All right, you're going to come out of the power. We'll come off on Bravo here. And 7 Charlie Charlie, care for hover taxi over the other side of the main ramp there.
Proceed as requested.
So now, I'm using behind the power curve on purpose here. So if you notice my speedometer, I'm going about 40 across the ramp here. And you can do that. If I get over to the edge of the ramp to make a landing out of it, I'm just going to ease out of the power. So I ease out of my power a little bit. We're on the ground. So is that a risky maneuver to do? Well, not terribly. I was only about 3 foot off the ground doing the hover taxi across the main ramp. So later on here in just a bit, we're going to talk about the height velocity curve as it pertains to helicopters and gyroplanes. And we'll look at the different considerations. When you're going slow, basically two altitudes that are safe. If say we're only going 35 and 40 in the gyro, two altitudes are safe. Number one, low to the ground, only 3 or 4 feet in the air, or several hundred feet in the air. All right. In between that, if you're 10 or 15 feet up to about 150, 200 feet, that's where you don't want to be, because if the engine quits, you're not going to be able to salvage it without hitting hard on the runway. You'll likely walk away from it, but you're going to do a lot of damage to the aircraft potentially, and you may get hurt.
So I hope you guys found the videos informative and helpful. I think I'll do a third video instead of adding on making this one any longer. I'll do a third video where we contrast and compare the operation of a helicopter in less than ETL versus a gyroplane behind the power curve. And the operations are very similar. The aerodynamics are very similar, both in how you recover and how you avoid it. And so you can look for that next. Hopefully I'll get that done the next few days. If you haven't already and you enjoy the videos, be sure and like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you again soon.